If you're feeling stuck in any way of your life moving forward, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, money, career, relationships, or health, have you ever considered the role your parents may be playing in these issues? Now, you already may blame your parents for a lot of your problems in your life, and you may have cut ties with them already, or you may be at a point where you thought you've resolved everything with them, and you might have a good relationship and think your parents are great. But it comes to a point where you're still feeling stuck and you don't know how to move forward. Now, I just wanted to share a very different angle of an unconscious pattern I was actually unaware of that was related to my parents. And you might be aware of this already, but you may not be, and it could be a game changer if you're still feeling really stuck. Now, I thought I'd done all the work around myself around these issues, but I clearly missed one piece of the puzzle, and I'll explain how I discovered it. So as kids, we look to our parents for their safety. During the early years of our lives, because we have to rely on them. We're incapable as babies and toddlers to fend for ourselves. So during these early years, we're learning about our environment and how we fit into the world, and our view of the world is very closely linked to the views of our parents and their beliefs. And if we agree with our parents' beliefs and conform to those beliefs, then according to our subconscious and survival, we'll belong and we'll feel safe and we'll receive that love. Now, it doesn't matter if you think your parents were good people or not, or whether you had a good upbringing or not. We all take some of our parents' beliefs out into the world to survive. Now, the problem comes when we get the chance to leave home and we get to go out into the world onto our own, and when we've been living with our parents or caregivers for so long, we're relying on them. We sort of rely on them to help us make us feel safe and for our survival. So we develop this unconscious need to feel safe and to receive love from our parents long after we've moved out of home. Now, these needs are very strong because they're directly linked to our survival. And even if our parents aren't around us all the time, we can unconsciously take actions that align with not upsetting our parents, even though they're not with us. So sometimes if we do maybe step outside their belief system and take action away from that, we might feel a sense of guilt or shame that because what we're doing is not fitting in, and we might not be approved for what we've done. And we may try and hide those actions from our parents to keep us safe. Now, these patterns of conforming to our parents' beliefs, they can be the hardest to shift because they were created so early on in our lives when we were hopeless. We had no option but to rely on them to survive. And it's a pattern that's really firmly and deeply rooted within us. So I want to give you an example of a pattern from my childhood around money, and you can see how this plays out and how I become stuck in different ways. Now, my parents acted as if money was scarce, so Dad would say, turn the lights off if you're not using them, or you're wasting electricity, as if it was costing him money. And if I asked for something from my mum, she would say, wish in one hand, spit in the other, and see which one fills up first. So basically meaning that I couldn't have what I wanted, and I associated that with not having enough money. So to keep them happy and for my sake of my survival, I went along with their belief that money was scarce. So what I did is I stopped asking for things that weren't necessary, and I made sure the lights were turned off when I wasn't using them. And I was keeping them happy because I was agreeing to their beliefs. So that in turn made me feel safe. But now as I got older, I started to see other people with a lot of money and spending it without a care in the world and buying whatever they feel like it, whatever they desired. And it was really hard to see and to understand why they were wasting their money. And you know what, I think to myself, don't they know that money might run out, or it's really hard to come by? And I get really angry and I get resentful towards these people that I believe that they were wasting money unnecessarily and just getting what they wanted. And I got annoyed because I felt like I couldn't do that with my own money. And I started to question, like, what's wrong with me? And these people were earning the same amount of income as me and living a similar life to me. And I was thinking, where are they getting all this extra money to spend? So I desperately wanted to go out and earn lots of money so I could spend it on whatever I wanted and experience that feeling. So I become stuck because I wanted to go for what my heart wanted. My heart wanted to earn some money so I could just buy stuff for myself. But on the other hand, I didn't want to disappoint my parents because disappointing them was linked to my safety and survival as a small child. if I went out and earned some money and proved that money wasn't scarce, it would be essentially proving them wrong. And if I proved them wrong, that could make them upset at me. And how would they judge me? And if they judge me as angry, if they judge me as doing the wrong thing, for example, then they might withdraw their love. And if they withdraw their love, then I feel unsafe. But the problem is I was in my 20s and early 30s, and I didn't have that problem around being safe because I could look after myself. So I knew from the work I'd done on myself that I knew there was a belief of scarcity around money from my parents, and I thought I'd resolved all that. But what I failed to do was actually link the beliefs of my parents and how they would judge me because of their belief around money. So it wasn't actually the belief of money I had, it was the belief around how my parents would judge me going off their beliefs, and that was linked to my survival. So another money belief that I witnessed from my mum was that the only way she would be able to afford what she wanted and go for what she wanted and spend the money she truly desired on stuff she truly wanted was by winning the lotto. Now, so for her to come into a large amount of money was pure luck, and looking at it now, she was giving away all her power to believing that she didn't have the ability within her to get that money any other way and be able to spoil herself and have that money. So what happened is, though, a few years ago when my wife and we sold our business, and we sold it for a good return. But instead of investing that money and using it wisely, I didn't do anything with it, and I let it gradually run down. And I started another business a year prior, just as we started to sell the business. And this business was taking off. But as soon as we sold the other business and we had the money in the bank, I didn't push myself to establish it further. I sort of took myself away from it. And for some reason, I couldn't bring myself to grow that new business. Whatever I did, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And the money slowly ran down over a year because the business stopped growing, and we had to take money out of those savings to pay for the everyday things. And I found out I was stuck in a procrastination simply because of the belief that my mum, like a large sum of money could only come through luck. And because I'd achieved this through our own business and created this wealth for ourselves through our knowledge, I was unconsciously giving it back because of that. I didn't want to be seen. It didn't match with my mum's belief of getting money through luck. So I felt like I needed to give it all back and go back to having a limited amount of money because I didn't want to perceive by her as having a lot of money, and again that might make her feel upset, and I would have proven her belief wrong that a large amount of money can come from other ways of not winning a lotto. So essentially what we're doing in these situations was we're unconsciously acting like the 4 or 5 year old version of ourselves that needs our parents for their support and our safety and our survival. But we're just in an older body, and we're still going around, and we're still afraid that we're going to be abandoned by them. And it's crazy how our unconscious mind works. Now, these are our perceptions. So these were my perceptions, and they may not be the same as what my parents actually believe. I didn't know. They might have had $100,000 in the bank sitting there, and I didn't know. But the way they acted was that, and the way they sort of described things was money was scarce. And the thing is, they're our perceptions, and we carry these through as truth until we take a step forward and we actually address this. And this is why we become stuck, because what we're doing is, if we want to do something that we believe we might want to do something that we believe that our parents wouldn't approve of. So if we were to go ahead and do it, we feel like maybe we're betraying them. And we put at risk losing our safety, even though we don't need it anymore. But if we sort of stay where we are and we don't go for it, then we feel like we're betraying ourselves, and we're not going with our heart and what we really want and desire in life. So that's the point where we feel stuck. We can't go this way. We can't go with what our heart wants. We can't go the other way because we might feel like we're betraying our parents, or have that fear that they're going to abandon us, simply for our safety reasons. So when we feel stuck, we're living in fear of being abandoned, or if we're not living in fear of being abandoned by them, and we feel stuck, we're getting very angry and resentful for them because we feel like their belief is holding us back in a way. Now, when we feel stuck, we feel very powerless. We feel powerless to move forward. So all the power is either given to a lot of times given to our parents or external circumstances. And when we start to feel powerless, we start to feel very stressed. And most people like myself, to deal with this nagging stress and emotions that come up, what we do is we find it too painful to sit and deal with these emotions and to face the situation. So what we do is we try and distract ourselves from it. And we don't want to feel these, so we distract ourselves and mask them with like any number of ways. It could be with food, emotional eating, could be drinking, alcohol, numbing the pain, smoking, drugs, medication, gambling, work, more negative emotions, gaming, sex, social media, etc. We just distract ourselves from feeling stuck. Now, what happens is, obviously, as you know, that these nagging feelings, they don't actually go away. They just keep coming back, and we just more and more of these patterns and trying to distract ourselves. So the problem is this almost always leads to health issues down the track, because when we're feeling stressed, we're actually activating our fight or flight response, which puts us in a survival mode. And when our body is in survival mode, all our energy gets diverted from our digestive system, our immune system, our reproductive system, and all the other important systems that give us energy. It gives the energy to the rest of the body to be able to run away or fight the danger. Now, if we don't address this danger, we become stuck in this survival mode, and our body cannot repair itself or grow in any way. And when it's not repairing itself, it's starting to die. And our body is then in dis-ease, and we start getting sick or injured regularly. And in turn, that can lead to chronic illness if we're feeling this chronically. Now, I was able to stop this cycle when I realized that I was getting sick and injured regularly. And it was almost to the point where it did turn into chronic illness. And it was a point in my life when I did feel stuck. I felt like I couldn't move forward any other way. Now, when we just tolerate this feeling stuck, the stress is always there. It's always nagging away at us. And when we think we're distracted, even like it's even there when we think we're distracted, but it's actually there the whole time, and it doesn't leave until we actually face it and resolve it. Now, with the emotion code and body code, we can connect to your subconscious, and we can help identify some of these unconscious patterns that may be causing the issues for you and causing you to become stuck. And we can remove these underlying emotions, and it makes it easier to move forward in life if we're aware of these patterns, and we can release that emotional energy that's stuck. So it allows us to move forward and live the life that you want to create and create for yourself. So if you are feeling stuck and you want to move forward with us and identify some of these beliefs, these deep beliefs, and release some emotions around this and release some energy so you can move forward, the best way to get started with us is our taster package. For new clients, you'll receive a free bonus session. So you're going to get 2 sessions for the price of 1. And once you make your purchase, we'll send you through the client intake form. And once you complete that, we'll schedule your first session in. So if you're looking to get unstuck in life, I highly recommend the body code and emotion code to help you become unstuck like it did to me and my family. So if you want to continue further, as I said, head to our website and purchase that taster package. I look forward to hearing from you and helping you be free of these limiting patterns. Enjoy your day. See you later.